Stay with me. Talk me down. Patiently till I turn this around. Pull me close. Is that okay? Tender and tightly, 'cause I'm floating away. I don't wanna be rude, lying here covered in blue, under a sky full of stars. I'm lying in your arms, wondering which one of us is the fool. Tiny dream, stolen smile in between the flash, the desert isle where I was supposed to be. Oh, it takes a while, we've got time. I play alone, kiss my hand, if nothing else. Think I can find my way in the dark. I'm not frightened to admit that I'm tired. I don't wanna be rude, lying here thinking of you, under a sky full of stars. I'm lying in her arms, wondering which one of us is the fool. I don't wanna confuse you, and I don't wanna lose you tonight. Stay by my side if you don't mind. I don't mind. I know it's a mess, this heart in my chest. I've been pushing, you've been pulling me through, and I can attest that all I have left is a broken idea of the truth. Please, can you stay with me? Talk me down. Patiently till I turn this around. Pull me close. Is that okay? Tender and tightly,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. That was Stay With Me, and that's by the talented vocalist and composer Carly Thomas. And I encourage you to go to her website, carlythomas.com, and that's Carly. Carly Thomas has just released her, I think it's her fourth album. It's called Behind-the-Ficus, and we're super excited to have her here with us today. So, Carly, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so is this the fourth one?
Fourth, like full length. I've had a few singles, but yeah, this is like the fourth release as a complete album. Yeah,
it's amazing listening to all the different. It just flows, and that's I'm always a big thing. Like I know musicians release their singles, and I get it, but I really like a good album where you can just sit and listen and be part of the journey, and it flows really well. That's
what I really wanted to do. I mean, because that's what I hear all the time is like, it's a singles market right now and release single every whatever. And I'm just like, I just really want to put a complete thought out there. And I had all these songs that just really, and then just, I needed to bring them all to life and I wanted it to be a journey. So
I think singles are really a marketing thing.
Yeah.
I think the industry went that way back in probably the like 60s, that singles were a marketing thing because that's what you had to do to get on radio stations and such like that. So it's a marketing thing. And then came the concept albums, which is what musicians really want to take you from start to finish through the whole album.
Yeah, it's like a chapter of a book versus a full book,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's still, in the album, still songs you can kind of pitch as singles to be in the forefront, but that just creates the interest in digging in and listening to like the full idea,
Yeah. Well, I think we've also changed with the pandemic thing, whereas before people were so fast and it's like we're reading short stories versus a full novel. And we're listening to singles. Do we like that? We're so move. And then COVID was like, dude, we get to sit down and we can actually eat the full piece of cake. And no one will know because they can't see us.
Totally.
But people get to actually listen again. And I think we've kind of gotten to a place as humanity. There's just the COVID thing sucks, but it's brought us back to some roots that I think we really needed to get back to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like kind of slowed things down a bit.
Yeah, music. Like actually sit and listen to album, you know?
And on like the other side of that, the same for being a creator is, I sometimes get so overwhelmed with, post on social media every day and do all the things, create the content. And especially as an independent artist to keep putting out content. And then it's like, I like exhaled and I was like, I really just want to put something really thoughtful together. And I felt like I had the time. I wasn't like, I couldn't go tour. I couldn't like go out and gig and do all the other things. And I was just like, I'm just going to like zone in now. And it was an enjoyable process to be able to do that and to feel like I had the time and space to do that.
Awesome.
So your songs are deep. There's no holding back. It's like, here it is. It seems very personal to me, like listening to them. And I think we can all go, like there's certain songs that I'm like, and just certain lines and I'm like, oh, I've been there. That's me, and so I think does it feel brave to write that real? You know what I mean? To be that
well, like authentic. I'm glad you said that because for me sometimes I'm like, oh man, is this like too personal or is this too much? But it's kind of the only way I know how. And I think that's what I first fell in love with about music was relating and feeling less alone. And so if I can kind of dig deep and that kind of style is, I guess, not for everyone, but that's not really, for me it's always been, that's the beauty of it for me is like digging deep and being able to connect with people on a level that like it's hard to tap into sometimes. And that's sort of, I don't know, just like makes us human.
We need it.
Yeah,
we need it.
I think it's a good thing because there's a whole bunch of people who will pretend they don't feel when they do. Closet listeners.
You put the wall up. You put the
wall. So they'll listen to it and like, oh, yeah, that's how I feel. But they won't want to speak about it.
That's up
Yeah.
to them. That
for
doesn't
a
matter.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while, but eventually they'll come out of that. When people like you do what you do, eventually it works. It just takes
Yeah.
time.
And just reaches people in a different way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How many albums do you have that you go back to and like
Mm.
maybe even as a kid and then you go back to it and it has a new meaning, or it's like a,
Oh yeah.
it's like,
Or
you
just
know,
like
it's
a
like,
time machine. Like you can be
yeah,
like, oh man, I
exactly.
remember exactly the smell
yeah,
of the air when I connected to this song, or like that makes me think of this or whatever, you know.
yeah, all senses, right? It's also
Mhm.
it's almost like our like little secret, you know, our little blankie when we were kids.
Mhm.
And like music to me is like that at certain songs and certain times. And then all of a sudden you grow out of that. And then you go, okay, I need my blankie again. I'm going back to the
Yeah.
album. So, and it will change as we grow as individuals. And I think Behind the Ficus is one of those albums
Mm.
that you can go in and also just really enjoy good music. You don't have to, you know, everybody's in a different stage, you know,
Yeah.
but it
for
does
sure.
feel like you travel, and it's got a lot of relationship,
Mm.
a lot of inner stuff going on.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've always been a really personal writer, and I enjoy writing, like digging into like love songs and the human like emotional experience and all that. I feel like with this one I tried to also expand and make it a bit more universal. Like there's a few songs in there that are just sort of stuff that I haven't really played around with for a while. Like I kind of got a little bit funky and like, you know,
Fun.
even back to like the indie rock sort of vibe as well.
Mm.
And then Front Row is a song that I actually released. I put it on the album because I was like, I released this as a single in early 2020, and it was supposed to be a song I was excited to kind of like play on bigger stages, and it was about being close in a crowd. And so
Yeah.
it was a weird time to release that song, but now I'm just like, I added it in there as I just wanted it to be a big, I just wanted it to feel like a good collection of where the last 5 years, everything has sort of been with me too.
So Behind the Ficus, the name of the album.
Yes.
Title.
Yeah. So
it's like peekaboo.
Yeah. I have this I really enjoy titling like works that I do based on a line in the song and not the title of the song. So there's a line in the song that says, I was hoping you were hiding behind the ficus. And to me, it was just like, I mean, I guess you can kind of like take it how you want it, but I also kind of wanted the title to be a bit quirky and intriguing, and like, what does that even mean? And to me, it was,
what's a ficus?
Yeah, it was like a little, yeah, I've gotten that a lot. I'm like, oh,
is it a fake one or a real one?
It was a real one.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to avoid this and pretend it's over
Yeah.
there in the corner of the room kind of thing. And so for me, it was like, there's a handful of songs on the album that I had kind of just pushed aside because it was, I don't know, like there's a lot for many reasons, a few of them because it was just, there were a couple songs that were hard to put out there because they were really personal. And there was a couple songs that were, I just felt like they weren't ready, or I was just too scared to like put them out there. And I had all this self-doubt, and I was just like trying to shed all that with this and just like completely move into
it's a rebirth.
my power, you know?
Yeah, it's like a rebirth and like another stage. And that's interesting. We were just talking this with some friends in a band about their album came out, and they're like, this is the best work. And I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, how do you top that? How do you top, you know, and it shouldn't even be that. It's just because even like some of the, you know, most famous bands in the world, some of their best stuff was their very beginning. So to me, it's always about like, that's the music at that time when it came out. That's there. It's not like one is better than the other. You grow and you, which means you get no.
See, that's my strategy in not becoming really famous, so that like I don't have to.
But no, it just means you get more branches in the ficus tree, right?
When an artist says this is my best work, the public may or may not agree. They'll go, oh, but I really like this better. And the artist will always be surprised. Oh, because
well, I think as like you always like the hope, like hopefully the work that you're creating and that you just released,
it's your baby.
You always want to be evolving and getting better, you know?
And you think that the longer you're in the groove that you're in, that the better it gets, and you're pushing yourself.
Yeah,
that's on your side. But the audience, I mean, it's almost like you have to bring the audience along on the journey and educate. Is that the right word maybe to use? I'm not sure.
Well, it's
But
just everybody's got a
they're
new
not
stage.
always in the same space.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
there's
I
some
think-
people will always like the earlier Beatles than the later Beatles.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
And
the
then one
later
day they'll
Beatles are
wake up
like,
and go, I love John
Oh.
Lennon more than Paul McCartney. And I always thought I was a Paul McCartney.
no, but you know what I mean? It's like everybody's on their own journey in so many ways, artistically, what they hear, what they think, what they feel. And how does an artist tap into everybody's personal journey?
You can't. You have to be your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just have to be true to yourself and your own expression.
Exactly.
And then however, like for me, it's like, and I think for a lot of artists, once you create something, once you put it out there, it's not yours anymore. It's
It's
theirs,
there.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we feel
So,
that even
Have
like
to
when
sort
we
of
do a
let go
magazine,
in a way.
Yeah.
we do a magazine and you sit there and you blood, sweat,
No,
and tears. The
God.
magazine goes out and it's like, this is the baby. This ask me 3 days later what was in the magazine. I haven't a damn
Right.
clue. It's like,
Yeah.
it's done.
And then
I'm on to
people
the
would go
next.
like, oh, good job. Or, hey, there's a typo on
Yeah.
page 46.
Oh, I'm gonna shove it.
Yeah. And
But-
it's hard to like release something out there and expect, I mean,
You want
Yeah.
everybody to know it now too.
it's tricky because, and also like with music, I mean, I don't really know, like someone could be listening to me right now driving in their car, but I do not know that. And that's like a sort
Yeah.
of like this suspension of reward of that is sometimes
Oh, the
you have,
feedback.
you have to figure out a way to just be like, okay, like it's
It's out there
not-
and
not-
just trust
it's-
it.
and that's
Yeah,
just,
how do,
yeah.
yeah, and feedback. you
Blind
know,
faith.
How do you get feedback if you're performing live?
Most people
you-
don't say anything except for like, and then you know, your people that you know, they'll tell you and you'll
Mhm.
get your reviews and everything
Mhm.
like that. But I think most people aren't going to say like, you know what, I'm going to reach out to this artist and tell them what I thought of this and how it
Yeah.
touched me. So like when that does happen, it's so
It's
meaningful
awesome.
to me because it doesn't happen all the time.
Well,
and
yeah. I mean,
just
and
like
on
it makes me feel
Facebook,
like, oh my
maybe.
God, I'm doing the right thing. Like I'm reaching
Right.
out
Yeah.
to someone.
That's huge.
People don't know if it gets to you as well, like on
Yeah.
Facebook or something like that. They have a way to reach out to you, you know, and then it's like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. Like even, you know, someone will be at a show. Do you go up to them while they're on their break and say, by the way, that song was badass? You know, you want to, and then it's like, don't disturb the break,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because they need the break. And it's like, so it's a very, it's kind of that, I think it's just the energy in the room too. I mean, that's the hardest
sure.
thing for musicians. So did you do any live streaming during the whole lockdown?
I did some live stream shows just like on Facebook and Instagram. And I also did, when things first got locked down, I did like 18 days of quarantunes, which
Cool.
Oh,
like, I edited together just some like mostly cover songs for every day. And that just became like my job every day. And I would, I'll send you a
Hey.
link to them because they're pretty hilarious.
Cool.
And
cool. Yeah, I want to see.
yeah, they're really funny.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something. I mean, it's like, but it's different. People are there and they do comment and do things, but it's different than a live audience where
Oh
the
yeah.
energy is like a different vibe, right? In a way.
It's totally
It's like
different and it's
you wanna be-
weird. Like
yeah.
it took me a bit to get used to it. I'm not really used to it still. I haven't done one in a while, but it feels a little odd to be live on a screen and being like not like feeling that energy in the room. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's sort of what
Because it is
brings
tactile.
your performance to life too. Like I perform better when I can feel that people are engaged and stuff. So it's and not that they're not, like it's kind of cool. Like I got a bunch of fans to like send me pictures of where they were watching from, and some people were like had me on their TV and some people were like sitting outside.
And it goes further. It goes
Mm.
further, right? It goes further around the world,
Yeah.
you know? So in a way, there's this,
Exactly.
but it
That's
just
cool.
shows
Well, all
how
of a sudden
the
it's like
energy is
I'm more
tactile.
nervous doing those sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, this is accessible.
Yeah.
To, like
Yeah.
I can't see everyone that's gonna be listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a
It's
different
weird.
ball game.
Mhm.
It's because again, it's like, it proves to me that energy is tactile.
Yeah.
That that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
we have ghosts. Like that's why I believe in ghosts. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know, just like get weird and whatever,
Okay.
but I know. But so stay with me. And your voice is just so
Earthy.
like earthy and strong, like velvet and strong at the same time.
Thank you.
So did you
Mm.
go to school for that, or is this just, evolved over time?
I think it's just evolved over time. I think, I mean, as I kept singing and playing, I got a lot more confidence in my voice, and I didn't really take voice lessons. It just kind of came naturally, and I've always been just trying to tap into emotions in my voice. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want to actually do more vocal coaching and improve my range and all that kind of stuff. But for now, yeah, it's just from doing it so much, I think.
It's a very honest storytelling sound,
Thank you.
Yeah, that connects. You connect, you listen. When you sing, you listen because you're there, but it has this velvety approach that allows you to listen to the yearning and the angst and the different cycles of emotion. You know what I mean? So the velvet, it's like, okay, you've got this blankie. We're back to the blanket.
Cool.
But
I like it. I like that.
Yeah,
I would hate to see a coach you out of that natural sound.
You have to get the right coach.
Yeah, I mean, and for a really long time, I didn't really have a lot of confidence in my voice. I always thought of myself as more of a writer than a singer. But now I just feel like the cool thing is, like, I get compared to all different singers. So I like that because it means I don't just sound like one person. I'm not just going to be like in this pigeonhole, I guess. So
I think you sound like you.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
the
it's
best.
like you. Yeah. I mean, it's a great sound, and Chantel, by the way, hi Chantel, thank you for connecting us. Chantel Joven, everyone, Love Without Martinis, the Boy with the Bamboo Heart, so Thailand, that's how we connected with Chantel, was her memoir and her story out in Thailand, and that's where you were born, right?
I was born in Bangkok, Thailand, and moved around like all over the world every few years growing up until I was about 19. And then ended up moving to Vancouver, BC. And that was sort of the place that I put down a bit of roots. It was the longest place I had lived growing up, but we were always connected to Canada. Like, we had a home base in the London area near Toronto. But yeah, it was a wild, cool upbringing, very crazy, amazing, devastating, beautiful at the same time. So I think that's probably where I pull from a lot of like my writing and stuff, is just from navigating those changes.
Well, travel does that. I mean, I went to we were just talking about this. I think it's 16 schools, and throughout Africa, South Africa, Kenya, England, well, here we go. And, and that change, hardens
but
you.
Not.
But you go through so much to, connect, and then it's like it toughens you, then it's like sometimes it beats you the hell down,
but the experiences, I mean, you draw on them for the rest of your entire life. You will draw on the experiences that you have, and when you travel, you obviously have way more experiences in totally different spaces, like depending on who you are mentally and emotionally, you can live in the same house and have a whole bunch of experiences. Like, okay, there's a fly growing up, like crawling up the wall there. It looks different than the fly.
This is interesting, Nancy.
Well, no.
Now we're going from the ficus to the fly on the wall.
Yeah, no.
So fly on the ficus.
Yeah, I like that.
When you travel, obviously all of your senses are engaged. And you have way more experiences that are not what people who don't
out
travel
of your comfort
get.
zone all the time.
Yeah. So, and I think they're ingrained in you from all your senses, because everything's so foreign and different. So, and there's a little bit of fear attached to travel.
But I
think there's like, when I would meet people that grew up in the same place their whole lives, it was like, I found it was common in a lot of my friends that they had a big fear of traveling further distances. And I was always like, why? Like, why would I not want to go somewhere? Like, I don't know if you found that too, but, and,
yeah, I actually,
I went from living, like, I lived in a small town in Indiana and then moved to Buenos Aires, Argentina, like from there.
Well, geez, that's like a bing, bada bong.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then back there, I was like, reverse culture shock. I'm like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, that's it. The culture shock thing is really huge. When we got to we had a band in San Diego, and I remember we'd finished this gig, and the guitarist was a very young guy who could really play, but he just started in on me about travel, like, you know, it's a waste of time and you don't really learn anything. You're just like takers,
really?
Yeah.
And I
weird,
just sat
huh?
there. I'm like, he's like, no, you can learn just as much by and has more strength by staying in the same place.
I'm like,
And I don't know, him and I ended up like this grand debate all night. Like it just annoyed everybody at the end. Everyone's like, will you both just shut up? Because
Did the
we were
band,
just
did you
going
break
on
up the
because-
band because of it? I'm just-
well, no, that happened later. I mean, it was like on its way
that
anyway.
happened.
That happened later, not too far after that. But I was
Yeah.
just looking at this kid who was so young compared to I was still young, but like, I think when you're in your young 20s, you're like, if someone's 2 or 3 years younger than you, they're like really young.
They're
Yeah.
You
babies.
know what I mean?
Right.
We've got that weird, like, percent. But him and I just were like, no, I'm like, I get what you're doing, and there is strength in staying in one place. To me, that takes strength because I'm more familiar with always being somewhere new and different. You know what I
That's when
mean?
you start looking
So
at
there is a
flies on the
strength.
wall.
Yeah, there is a strength in it. So yeah, either side. But to me, it's like, that'll come later. I don't need to do that
Yeah, I
now.
feel like I don't like in my experience, I feel like a lot of people have said the opposite about travel. It's like, oh, like I'm not strong enough to just kind of go and risk and get out there and stuff like
That
that. So
too,
that's
yeah,
an
people-
interesting perspective. I never
Yeah.
thought
Well,
about that.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
it is if people want to have families, they,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I just want to keep going. It's like
Yeah.
the adventure versus this and that. And so people, but like, we're a family traveling, so
Mhm.
it's not like you can't have a family and travel, but people are like, no, I have to have my things. We're like totally like, we don't need,
Right.
we've
Yeah.
learned
Yeah.
like how much, when you travel, you don't want to have to keep packing your room up all the time as a
No, I
kid.
hate it. And I'm
Eventually-
always like,
Yeah.
oh, I've
God.
packed too much. I've packed too much. And
I
then
packed a box of paper once. Like
nice. Nice.
she got to the other side. She's like, what was that? I was like, well, I wrote little things here and there. This is a box of paper from Kenya to England, a box of paper by
Oh,
Lisa,
wow.
Seriously.
but it's, boy, did I get in trouble for that because better. Those shipping costs, but traveling, I
Mm.
mean, do you draw on that for your music? I mean, just those kind of perspectives, because there's a, even though it's busy and you travel, there's a lot of introspection, I think, that comes from observing and just,
Sure.
I think so. Yeah. It definitely
Mhm.
gives a different perspective, I think, whether it's super conscious or not, because I think there's something in experiencing so many different just like textures, flavors, people,
Mhm.
interactions, that
Mm.
does something to your soul, I think. And
Mm.
I mean, I don't know, I've talked about this before, but I don't know, like I couldn't tell you exactly, I couldn't pinpoint how or why it affects my writing, because it just feels so much part of it. Maybe it just feels like it's
Well,
just
part of who you are.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like when you realize subconsciously most of the time, maybe consciously some of the time, that people around the world eat different foods, they smell different, they act different, they have different customs and traditions. So when you slide into that, you get used to, okay, now we're living in Argentina, so now you get used to all that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then it becomes your
Here,
normal.
now you get to
And
eat
it's
a
sort
lot
of
of meat.
fluid. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Now it's
Lots
your
of
normal.
barbecue.
And then you go somewhere else and you're like, oh, whoa, okay, so out with that, in with this. And then eventually, after you've traveled enough, it's a big mixed bag. And when somebody says something, or you hear a piece of music, or you smell a certain smell, it takes you back to that particular place
Yeah.
that you were at one point.
If you take it in, if you soak it
Yeah.
in.
And
Yeah.
so you have so many different flavors. So when you go to write, whether it's a book or
Mm.
film or music, it has to
Yeah.
play a part. Has
Do you-
to, because
okay,
it's your
so
normal now.
We talk about how smells happen, right? And
Mhm.
that's an interesting thing. When you write, do you smell something? Like if you're having a sense memory, you could.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? About a
don't
certain
know.
person has a smell, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
totally.
Yeah.
You can kind of
We've
get
never talked
drifted
about
back
smelling.
somewhere. For
Yeah.
me, it's more like it's feeling and sort of I
Yeah.
get like visuals and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely the smell thing, like
Well, if you go to the city market in Kenya, there's smells. If you go to a market in Mexico, there are smells
Oh, it's
totally
more
different.
fish, depending on where.
Yeah, so depending, and it brings
it becomes
memories.
comfort to me. Like other people think things stink, and I'll go, when I
No.
first got there, this stinks. But then it's like, if you go away from it
And
and
then it
come back, it's
reminds
like,
you, so
oh,
you're like,
thank God I
"Oh."
missed that smell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that dead fish smell.
You
I
know,
do.
you're only now you know you're
With
only
a little
10 miles
sewage.
away from home.
Yeah,
You know,
dead fish and sewage. It
turn
smells
left
wonderful.
when you smell the fish.
It's
Yeah.
true. But it's awesome. So the album is out now.
It's out. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Now stay with me. The video. What was that like? Doing like a video like that, you know?
Yeah,
that's so different than performing live, right?
Yeah,
because
it
that
really-
was deep.
It was, and I hadn't really done a proper video in a long time, or it felt like it at least. And I'll like, I don't know. So what happened was I had a good friend of mine that I had known in Vancouver and also in Montreal as a photographer, and she was getting into doing more video work, Nina Congini, and she's amazing. And she came to stay for a little bit, and we just did a bunch of like photo stuff, and we worked on some like shots for like the album cover potentially, but then I sort of decided to go with the different cover. But we spent a whole like afternoon, and there was this light that comes through that's so beautiful, and we wanted to capture that feeling. And for me, I was like, I want to just be as like raw as I possibly can be, and I didn't want to be like over dramatic, but I wanted it to be, I also wanted to
real.
show like, you know, as someone who's trying to like connect with so many people, show that like I'm not afraid to like show like scars or show like how I don't know, because I've always been really supportive of anything that has to do with, you know, breaking the stigma for mental health and depression and all that stuff, because that's stuff that I went through and I think so many people go through. And I don't know, I just wanted to kind of like feel like, you know, I can just do this and be real and just be brave about it. And so we just kind of, it was just the two of us, and we spent the whole afternoon just kind of shooting it and going over some ideas. And I just want to be simple and true to sort of who I am as a person and as an artist. So I was trying to reflect that sort of
without
vibe.
acting. Yeah, you're not acting it out. It comes up very genuine with a lot of integrity. And I think anybody who watches that is going to get it. Like, oh, okay, let's think about this, you know? And I think the whole stay with me part, you can take it romantically, you could take it as family, you could take it with a friend, even a neighbor. Like there are moments in your life where, you know, that human connection can stop so much that can happen in the next step. You know,
I was
you
hoping
that
would kind of come through in different layers.
Yeah, there's so much you are, you know, when you're really upset, you know, or really, you know, in that zone, it's like just that pattern interrupt basically can shift everything, and it can save someone's life, honestly.
Well, there's also that,
and it's compassion. We need to feel heart, like, and I feel like we've lost a lot of it, came back to it. And I hope we don't forget it. Like when COVID hit, people realized how much they missed hugging each other.
Absolutely.
More than anything. It was like we missed
that.
hugging. And I think musicians miss the energy, that love in the room. You know, and it's better to have someone hate your song and be live than not, right? It's like, here, throw a bottle. No, don't. But you know what I mean? But it's we need to have, we are social animals, you know. Oh, did I say that? Where's more monkeys? No, we are. But we are social animals. But that human compassion, and we need to go back to that a lot more. I feel, you know, I'm just saying off the top of my head. But
and there was a couple of really interesting I forget, I'll have to find it and send it to you after, but there was a couple of videos I'm sure that kind of went viral, and it was about like, here's the good parts of what's happening right now. Like we are more connected, like for those of us that like we're lucky enough to be and all the lockdowns like with our close family, and we cherish that more, and we dropped being so busy all the time, and we kind of, it made us take a look at ourselves. I
You
think.
got to stop the crap.
And sometimes that's
actually,
not
you know what I
easy.
mean?
Yeah.
You got to get past all the little me, and then it builds back up,
Mm.
because then it's like, okay, now you're really annoying me. Do you have to sit in that position right there in that place? You know? So there's that happens too. But
there's
no, you're
another
right.
there's another way to look at that song is if you're talking to yourself about yourself and you're asking yourself to stay with you.
Oh yeah, and you do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, like when
Gotta hang
times
in there,
when things get really rough and you can feel yourself kind of separating out, like maybe over emotional and react to something that normally you wouldn't have this huge reaction to. And so sometimes it's, you know, I can look at that song and hear it and think, okay, you know, sometimes it's calling yourself back into yourself too, like, hey, whoa, let's regroup.
Yeah.
And stay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sometimes the helping hand is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, because that's your strength. That's you've got to have that in you, you know. But that I love that you've done it. We've done a lot of shows on mental health. You know, it just, and I think it's overlooked. And even the words mental health, to me, it's just like, it's about feelings. And I wonder, like, is it always been there that we ignored it, or is it bigger now because we've gotten so busy? All I know is, whenever you feel down, put some music on. I've always really,
for sure,
music is it, man.
That's been like a healer in the world.
I always forget that if something's making me upset.
I think that's what the arts are for. You know, the arts are outside the mainstream of, you know, we do everything this way, and that way, you know, i.e. government. Yeah. This way. These are the laws. You shall this, you shall that. And then the human experience is everything but that.
Yeah. And
this is so we behave ourselves.
Sometimes we can lose touch of that too, right?
Yeah. And we need
the
law
world is
and
moving
order.
really fast now. Like, I mean, technology and just the amount of time.
And there's fear because of COVID. There's fear of all these things, fear of what is happening and what might happen in the future. And there's also hope. So it's a mixed bag, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
thank
I
God.
can get really overwhelmed, and I've turned to just music and meditation and just to remind myself that it's like everything's fine. Like you're here.
Ooh.
One breath at a time.
When you do, I love that. And meditation, one breath at a time is, you know, well, breathing is a healer. You can change your DNA and your whole everything by breathing. And we forget to just breathe. If we take, I think it's like 3 deep breaths every 30 minutes or something like that, it will change us positively. And we forget that. And it's interesting because we sit uptight. I know when I used to sing, I didn't have asthma. As soon as I stopped singing, I forgot to breathe. Yeah. It's weird. I mean, as a kid, I had breathing issues from living in LA, as a, you know, the smog. But as soon as I stopped singing, all the issues would come back.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's because, like, I'll be uptight and doing stuff and I'm just like, and forgetting to breathe.
I have to say,
and when you're breathing, you're using the your diaphragm, you're using muscles, and you're putting oxygen into all your organs, and all your body's feeling happy and loose. But as soon as you stop that, it's like stop feeding, you're stopping feeding your and nourishing and nurturing your body, your brain, your hormones are get,
like,
you know,
90% of your allergies and your asthma went away as soon as we left the States,
America,
and we went to live in Kenya. Then when we left Kenya, we went to live in England, they came back. Not all of them, but most of them.
Well, that's also the weather. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at, I couldn't live in Canada. I'd be in trouble. I want to
escape the winter with me.
I'm not doing the winter thing. You know, that's the whole thing. I want to go up though, for sure. We've been talking about this for years.
It's a beautiful country.
I'm sorry, but Canadians have some of the best humor on the planet.
Oh,
some of our favorite, the Canadian humor.
Yeah.
She's going to talk about Letterkenny.
I
She's
love
watching
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
I love Letterkenny.
Okay, I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, you have to. It's
No,
funny.
but I have a bunch of friends in Michigan who are like quoting it all the time, and I'm just
Yes,
like,
so
what? And
funny.
they're like, why haven't you seen this? I don't know.
That's what happened to us last year when we
Yeah.
were in Wisconsin. It's like
Yeah.
they say, "Oh no, it's not going to snow that much in December." You know, here's a little salt in case, and you can just make sure you can get the car out. Well, hello, a
Yeah.
few snowstorms coming in, and I'm shoveling snow, learning about ice, and then we go in. Nancy made me hot toddies, and that was
Mhm.
because then I could breathe.
Nice.
Helped me,
Mhm.
and I was
Hot toddies
I
are
was
good.
the happiest snow shoveler on the street, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll do your yard, Nancy, help!" But that
Nice.
and now I'm gonna cough, right? That and Letterkenny, we just, and we just sat and we were
Binge
cold
watch.
and binge watched Letterkenny and got the giggles, and
So
Yeah,
there's
I
funny.
gotta
just
put that on my list.
you
You
do.
have
It's
to,
just
it's
silly,
so
but
funny.
So what do you listen to outside of your music? Who do you listen to?
I've been listening to like a lot of my favorite artists right now. I love My Brightest Diamond. I try to listen to like a really wide variety because I
Mhm.
like to try to get the spectrum of influence on
Mhm.
whatever I'm doing too. Ben Howard I really like. Brandy Carlisle I really like right now.
Oh yeah,
She's
yeah.
just super inspiring, like her whole just
Mm.
everything that she does is
She's
pretty
just pure.
thoughtful, and
She's straight up. Yeah. We
I'm
just
trying
listened
to
to an interview of her. She's
trying
amazing.
to like write her a bunch of letters just to maybe get her to I could open for her, maybe that would be probably a good
Yeah,
idea.
that would be
Cool.
I'm
awesome.
gonna
I think
convince her that will be a good idea.
no, I think it would be. I was
Yeah.
listening to an interview because she was going to do that. She did the Joni
Mhm.
Mitchell tribute, and she didn't like Joni Mitchell's music until her wife was
Oh,
like, at the
yeah.
time was all like, "Well, we're not hooking up if you
I
don't
know.
like
I
Joni."
know. I was like, hold on.
Yeah, so that
Funny.
was
So funny.
it's funny how that but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
I love how
things come
honest
to you.
that it, like 'cause most people be like, oh yeah, for sure, because I mean it's Joni Mitchell, right?
Mm.
See, everybody's different, and it comes to like at different times of your life. Like, it's just, I think it just is about what connects with you at that point,
Yeah.
but to me, listening to new music and independent music is really crucial.
That's
we
fun.
have so much good music compared to what you hear on, car radio.
On mainstream radio.
Absolutely.
There's such
Yeah.
good
sucks.
music. I don't ever want to hear anybody ever say there's no good new music, because that's just,
Oh, there's tons.
Mhm.
it's so good.
And
Isn't it
it's super
exciting?
accessible right now. I mean, you might have to dig a little.
Mhm.
I don't understand that, but we're so sick of Hotel California. It used to be a favorite song, but that's all you hear.
Like why
Yeah.
it's still playing.
Every
Yeah, I
20
know.
minutes, and it doesn't matter what station you put on. It's
Mm.
like they all have the same playlist.
They do. You can go
It's
over a
crazy.
county line, and
It's
then it will
nuts.
start all over again in a different radio station.
Yeah.
The same playlist. And it's
So
not
it's
anything.
Conspiracy.
It's nuts.
There's
It's
something.
scary.
No, it's sick.
But
But then if you get,
when you really think about it, yeah, that is. I mean, there's certain songs that are just hits
just-
and are like
yeah, it's just it's
timeless.
Journey, Foreigner, the Eagles, over
Yeah.
and over
Mhm.
and over again, and it's like no B-sides of anything. But
No,
then if you get
ever.
to a university town, you will find good music.
Well, that's
And
what you want to tap into. Yeah, like the college. radio
yeah, like
markets
I
and
remember
stuff.
Louisiana, when the first time we
Mhm.
went to Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I felt like I was back in Africa. This was just like this swampy goodness,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
and we were like early to where we were going to meet, the tourism stuff and everything. And so we went down all these back roads through these rice paddies.
They're
and
so
I'm like,
cool.
I'm so excited. I'm like, this is it, And so we're looking, and all of a sudden went into like the local college station, and they just found this treasure trove of 100-year plus old recordings of swamp pop. And here
Swamp
we
pop,
are listening
yeah.
to, for the first time that
That's
they've ever
so
played it,
cool.
That's
to
really
this
cool.
ancient swamp pop. Like, I don't know how they recorded it, but they did. And here it was. And
That
I'm
was
like,
cool.
this was the coolest thing. And then we're supposed to do all this tourism and la la la. And I'm like, no, I want to keep driving in this rice paddies with the swamp pop,
That's
because
so
it was
awesome.
so cool. And you do get that little excitement, once in a while. And then it just takes a lot. It's like 80% the same. And then all of a sudden you get your exciting part. And then I can drive for hours,
Yeah.
if that happens, you know. But the independence, I mean, we have it's just so beautiful. Look at your album. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So it's out. It's like,
awesome.
it's still pretty fresh, right?
It's still pretty fresh. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be hopefully making a couple more videos for some songs and
Cool.
keep like kind of pushing it out there. So
yeah.
I mean,
So in California now, everyone, she's out in Northern California. Do you think you'll be there through the winter doing some winery gigs?
Yeah, I
gigs?
think I'm going to do that. And then in the spring is when I'm setting up more like touring type stuff. And I definitely need to do my like Ontario and like Quebec touring, because I haven't had a chance to go back and do that. And then as things are just kind of opening up again, I'm sort of just trying to map out the next couple of years and where I want to go and where I want to play. So it's exciting now that I can do that again. So
right on. So
Cool.
we're gonna close with Carolina. And to me, it's perfect. It's perfect. We're going to close with, for those watching, you get to see the lyric video, and those listening, you get to hear the song, right? What were we going to say?
I do not know.
Okay, that's your dog.
Yeah, that's
we're like, cool. Which dog is
Thought we
that?
would have the dog bark. There's always
my
a
dog is not in the ocean though. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, we did pet sit a turtle or a tortoise, an African tortoise.
Oh,
and it
really?
didn't do any. Yeah, it didn't make any noise though.
That was
It does
the
chase
easiest
you.
pet.
It did chase me around the garden
does.
for dandelion greens though.
Yeah.
I did get
Oh,
chased.
wow.
I thought it was cool.
Are they fast?
No.
Actually, well, no, I was pretty
Faster
surprised.
than her,
It was it was oh, thanks. It was a small yard, like really small, but like he was coming and his
He's
little
a
mouth was like,
dinosaur.
I want
Oh my
When he
want my
opened his
dandelion
mouth,
greens.
you could see all
Yeah.
these like ridges and stuff, and his tongue comes out before he
like,
puts something in his mouth. And it was kind of, I'm like,
I
dude,
thought-
it's a dinosaur.
I
It's so
know, and he
cool.
was fast for that little yard, so you could
He
coordinate.
was.
You know what I mean?
He was determined.
He was.
Like, I will get my dandelion greens. And he's
And-
like, you're not fast
my
enough,
God.
Lisa.
I know. Everyone, the album is Behind the Ficus. Watch out for the African tortoise. No, Behind the Ficus. Keep up with Carly. She's at carlythomas.com, and it's CARLY, Carly Thomas. And we got to thank our sponsor. And Carly, you should totally do this.
Yeah.
The National Parks Arts Foundation. We love
should
them.
Totally do this.
They are the coolest organization on the planet. So
You should do it.
artists,
National
musicians,
Parks Art
painters,
Foundation. Okay, cool.
Arts Foundation, National Parks Arts Foundation. You apply to be an artist in residence, and they put you at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Beautiful 6-room house with a recording studio
Oh my
overlooking the ocean.
God. Will
Like,
they accept
no-
Canadians?
Yes, and
Yeah.
people from around the world.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Artists, painters. There's Hawaii. There's Haleakala. There's dry tortugas up in the Florida Keys.
Oh my
You get your
God.
own island. You
Okay,
actually
that's
have to
awesome.
take someone
Thank you
with
for
you.
sharing that.
I know. She's like, go.
I'm like, I'm
do it.
down. Let's do this.
Go
But you
do
go
it.
there for a whole month and just
On your own
create.
private
Oh my
island.
God. That's
How
dreamy.
cool is that?
And
very
you
cool.
get to see like all the sea turtles come in, all the little babies.
You
yeah.
get chased by them.
No,
No,
But
sea
if I go
turtles
out there,
don't
I'll get
chase.
chased.
Tortoises chase because
Tortoises,
they're
they're
okay.
land.
babies.
Got it.
Tortoises, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a little
But I'm going to
different.
escort
But
the sea turtles into the ocean, right? Because they get
Right.
they get eaten up.
oh
Don't
well,
they do
did you
that
watch?
there?
They do have they're tracking them. I know that there's actually like a environmental biologist person there that's watching them and getting them out and the
Mhm.
hatchlings out there and doing a whole kind of tracking and watching and kind of thing. But I don't know about like
They're so
what's going to come
different.
and get them, but I think climate change is going to be interesting on those islands over time with what's going on. And, just looking at, all the trash we put out in the ocean and, so I think that does affect them. And I think if they were in the Galapagos Islands, they'd have to run from those snakes. Have you
Yeah.
seen that? Have you seen that thing where the snakes go after the iguanas?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so creepy.
Yeah. Just Google iguanas and snakes, Galapagos Islands. It'll freak you out.
Okay.
That's creepy.
But we have iguanas where we are now, and they're giant. They're like 3 to 4 feet long
Oh, that's awesome.
in Florida.
in the
but they're not
pine
supposed to
trees.
be. All right, I know. So everyone, go behind the ficus, look for an iguana and a tortoise.
There you
But
go.
we're going to close with Carolina. Again, the album Behind the Ficus, carlythomas.com. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. This was really fun. Thank you.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I want you to show me what I know you can't explain. Walk with me through the ocean breeze. Stand with me on the edge, on the border of a holy moment. I can't look away. I watch this burn like a wildfire on a torrid California day, and it feels like on a cool night I could stand this close to the flame, hear your voice twist sideways, tell me that you feel the same. Carolina, can you stay? I've been afraid to light up. I don't wanna live that way. I've been hiding after days. You don't break this silence. Please let me walk away. Say something. I'm close to the shoreline. So much I didn't say stays on my lips like salt from a mist. The end of a crashing wave, you could almost adore me, but you're staying too far away. Shot and a miss, you're as sweet as a kiss. The end of a summer day feels like on a warm night. I could stand this close to the wave, feel your voice beside me, tell me that you feel the same. Carolina, can you stay? I've been afraid to dive in. I don't wanna live that way. I've been hiding after days. You don't break this silence. At least let me wash away. Say something. What do you wanna say? What do you wanna say to me? I know you wanna say